are gods, we are kings. We march in faith cause we believe we can change the world to what it needs. Stand against our enemies cause we can. Yeah, can't nothing ever stop us. Take one and another will rise up. We'll endure until we reach the end. We are gods, we are kings, demanding change cause we believe we can.
But they celebrate Christopher Columbus Day because they say that he discovered America.
Right.
But there was already people living in this land.
That's right.
So did he really discover America? No, that is a white lie.
That's right.
To brainwash the minds of the Hispanic and black men, brother.
Right.
All praises, Brandon. So now, you said earlier you believe in God, you believe in the Bible, right? So now what you're saying is that what you see here, right, what happened in history with our people, you say it doesn't correlate with the scriptures, right?
I don't know if it correlates.
You don't. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do, and this is what we do, brother. Because what we gotta do first, we gotta erase everything that we think we know, and really open up our minds to what the Bible is really saying.
That's right.
Because religion, along with this world, okay, guess what? They have confused the minds of the Hispanic and the black men.
Right. That's right.
So much that today, brother, we don't know our identity.
Right.
Yeah? And the Bible is going to help us with that. So let's first start with Isaiah 65 and 15.
Bring it up.
So let's start there. For example, so now your name, what's your last name? Garcia, right? So now, the Mayans, right? That's who we descend from, correct? We descend from the Mayans. So now, were the Mayans calling themselves Garcias?
Bring it out. Bring it out.
No, they weren't. That name Garcia is a Spanish name.
That's right.
The Mayans were not Spanish.
Right.
They were not.
Right.
They had different dialects of Hebrews.
That's
So
right.
they had Hebrew names.
Right.
But listen to what God is saying about his people, the Israelites.
Hallelujah.
Okay, read it.
Isaiah chapter 65 verse 15.
Bring it out.
And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen.
So God is saying, ye, my chosen, which is the nation of Israel, okay, the Black Hispanics and Native Indians, he said, you Israelites, we're going to leave your name. Read it again.
And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee and call his servants by another name.
So God's servants, brother, according to the Bible, God's servants were the Israelites, okay?
Right.
So now check this out. He said that his servants, the real Jews of the Bible, they were going to leave their names for a curse, and they were going to be called by different names.
Right.
Whole different names. Now let's look at this. When you see the so-called Jewish people today, right? The white man, right? That lives in Beverly Hills, that is in the land of Israel today, that is in the land of Palestine. They say they've been calling themselves Jews since the time of Moses.
Right.
But God said that the real Jews, they were going to lose their real name.
That's right.
So when we look at history, brother, what people call themselves by names that did not belong to them, by names that was given to them by a whole other race of people.
Bring it
What
out.
people?
Bring it out.
Who? Blacks and Hispanics.
That's right.
So you see how we start putting two and two together? This is how we do it. We gotta really put history with what God is saying in the Bible.
Right.
Now let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28, and we're gonna help us identify each other a little bit more. Okay? Let's go. Read
Deuteronomy
it.
chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all
So
Israel.
now you know the story of Moses, right? Moses brought the Israelites out of bondage, out of slavery from Egypt, right? We was in slavery under the Pharaoh for 400 years. So now Moses brought us out, and this is what Moses spoke to the Israelites. Now let's go to 28 and 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So now he's speaking to the Israelites. He's saying, if you do not keep the laws of God, read on.
Unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now check this out. God said if we don't keep the commandments and the laws of God, guess what? We would be going through curses. So how do we further identify the people of the Bible, the Israelites? Through the curses that Moses said we would be going through. Okay, so now let's look at this. Let's read verse 16.
Verse 16.
One of the curses.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So now, cursed shall y'all be in the city, and cursed ye shall be in the field. So now, when we look at our people, right, the population of the blacks and Hispanics, we find ourselves in the cities, and we find ourselves in Watts, we find ourselves in projects, and what do we see ourselves in the cities? What's going on with us, brother? Huh? Fights, what else? So what comes with poverty? Robbery. What comes with that? What comes with that? Drug addiction, alcoholism, okay? What comes with fights? You got gang violence. You got the black going against the Hispanics. You see that in the cities. You see America is the richest country in the whole earth. But guess where do you find the black and Hispanic? On the bottom, in the ghettos. While you see what? Amalek. That's their real name. The Jewish people. You see those people that wear these little, what is it? The yarmulkes on their head? They call themselves Jewish, right? Where do you find them right now? What level on the totem pole do you find them in right now? On the top. On the top. But God's saying that his real Jews are going to be at the bottom. They're going to be living in poverty in the cities. That's why when you look at Salvador, where your parents are from, there's nothing but poverty over there, brother. Nothing but impoverishment. And guess what? Nothing but gang violence. Even though we have a country, I'm from Nicaragua. Look, check this out, brother. We're talking about what's happening to the Hispanic today, right? I'm from Nicaragua. What do you see going on in Nicaragua? Violence, brother. You got the people rising up against the government. What do you see going on in Venezuela? The same thing, brother. Nothing but poverty in all Latino America.
Bring it out.
Okay, so now let's read it again.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now check this out, brother. Go back to history. You see this? The black man, which is our brother, so-called blacks, which are the real Jews. Check this out. The scripture says, cursed shalt thou be in the field. Who was the ones working in the fields during the slavery? Come here. Look at this. Who was working in the plantations during slavery? Who?
Bring it out.
The blacks. Who was it, brother? What fields were we working in? Cotton field, right? Banana fields, sugar fields.
Bring it out.
This is the black people went through that. After slavery, during slavery, after they got brought over in slave ships. Now check this out. Did this happen did they teach you this in history? What grade are you in? No grade. You graduated. How old are you? 18. So you just graduated. Did they teach you this in school? Okay, so now we're looking at real history that happened. So God is saying that the Israelites were going to be cursed in the field. Tell me, at what point in history and time did you see the white man going through this? Let's see. None. How about the Chinese man?
Bring it out.
None. How about the Arab man?
Bring it out.
None, brother. No other nation has gone through what the nation of Israel, the blacks and Hispanics have gone through.
That's right.
So when God said we were going to be cursed in the field, he meant that. He meant that, brother. We were going to be cursed in the sugarcane cotton fields. Check this out. You see this? What people is this? The Mayans. Check this out. Did they work in the fields? Yes. Yes. Have you heard? Did you ever hear of the Banana Wars? Yep. When was that happening? It was happening in the early 1900s. Through what? America, the U.S. got in power in Central America, and they took over our lands, and they put our native brothers to work in the plantations, in the banana fields. Like today, when you go to a grocery store and you have the brand name Chiquita, well, guess what, brother? That's where it came from. They had our brothers and sisters in slavery working in the banana fields. They had them in slavery working in the sugarcane fields. They had us, guess where else, brother? Once they did this, they put us into the caves, in the mines. The fields is the jobs, brother. That's what it's talking about. So now, let's read it again.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Cursed shalt thou be in the field. That's why you had Cesar Chavez. You know who Cesar Chavez is, right? What did he do for our people? What was he trying to do? Come on. What was he doing? No speak? Okay, brother. What he was trying to do, he was trying to fight for the rights of who? The campesinos working in the fields. Why? Because they needed rights. They still need more. Even though they marched all those thousands of miles, guess what, brother? They still being mistreated in the fields. All the fruits, all the vegetables, who's picking up? Who's picking up? Who? Who? Yes, who? Is it the white man? Who is it then? Who? Hispanics, brother.
That's right.
So the fields, who's working the fields? The Hispanics and the blacks. Okay, so who's God speaking to right there? It's very simple. Who's he speaking to?
Bring it out.
Who are they? Who's working in the fields? Brother, not in my your definition. I didn't tell you to say that. Who's working in the fields?
Bring it out.
Who? Yes. Who has worked in the fields since the beginning? Give me a time where the other nations worked in the fields. Give me a time. Give me a time. When?
Bring it out.
Because you don't know, because it don't exist, bro.
That's
It does not exist.
Right.
It does not exist.
That's right.
What happens is we try to define and try to look for ways to bring the other nations through the same stuff that we went through. But they do not compare. It's not there. You see that? So now, you said it out of your mouth. The nation of Israel, the blacks and Hispanics, we are the ones that have been working in the field. No other nation. No, I'm going to give you another one. Let's go to 49.
Upon thee for a sign.
The curses that were going to be upon our people for a sign. Read on.
And for a wonder.
So now, brother, a sign. What is a sign for? What does a sign do? It what? Eludes. It shows you what's going to come, what's going to happen. It shows you what is what. It defines a location. It defines a place. It defines a thing. It defines a person. That's what a sign is for, right? So now the curses of God that was going to happen to the nation of Israel, he said there were going to be a sign. For what? To identify ourselves. Read it again.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Meaning, guess what? He said, and for a wonder. So when you see your people going through these afflictions, you're supposed to look at the Bible and read what God is saying and be like, okay, you must start wondering. We gotta use our minds. We gotta use our minds. Brother, we have to use our mind. God said, this should make us wonder. This should make us wonder and try to really meditate and really think and be like, okay, God is saying this. What people fit what the Bible is saying they would go through?
Right.
What people does it fit? Don't try to fit something that don't. Don't try to put a shoe on a foot that don't fit. Right? You know what I'm saying? if the curses say that the Israelites will be going through this, and history tells us that, then we should accept it and look at it for what it is. Now check this out. Read verse 48.
Right.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49.
Bring it out.
Curse. Read on.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So now God is saying the Lord, he was going to bring a nation. This is a people against the Israelites from very far. Read it again.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flying.
So now listen to this. God said that the nation that he was going to send against his people, he's identifying them with the eagle. With the eagle. So now check this out. The Spaniards, right? The Españoles. When they came over, right, we had all Americas, which the Bible calls America Archerith. America is the name of a white man named Amerigo Vespucci. I mean, so we can't be Americans, right? So now God calls it Archerith. So now he said that the nation he was going to send against his people, they were going to come from a nation very far away, from a land far, far away. He said, from where? From the other?
From far, from the end of the earth.
That's from the end of the earth, meaning from the other side of the world. So when the Spaniards came against the Aztecs, Mayas, and Incas, did they came from the other side of the world?
Bring it out.
They did. Okay, now check this out. What symbol does the Spaniards use? What was their symbol? The eagle, brother. The eagle. The Europeans, what symbol did they use? The eagle. And I'm gonna help you out. You see this? You see this? When we go back to Greece, the Greeks, they identify themselves with the eagle. That's why they have the eagle on their money. This is an old silver coin.
Bring it out.
This is what they use to identify themselves. The eagle. Who came after the Greeks? The Romans. The Romans came after the Greeks. They were the same nation of people, Europeans, right? The Bible calls them Esau, Edomites. After the Greeks came the Romans. You see what they used? What? The eagle. After the Romans, who came? Check this out. What does it say? The Spaniards. What did they use, brother? The eagle. Now, after them, who came? America. And what does America use? The eagle, brother. So now we identify who the eagle was representing in the history. What other nation uses the eagle? Do the Arabs use the eagle? No. Do the Chinese use the eagle? No, they don't. So now this is very simple. Read it again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
They came from the other side of the world. Read.
From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flying.
God is describing them as an eagle. Why? They represent an eagle. Now, if you look at an eagle is a what type of bird? It's a predator. It's a predator. It preys on other animals. Right? So now check this out, brother. The eagle, which is America today, who did they prey on?
Bring it out.
After the Spaniards, who represent the eagle, preyed on the Hispanics, the Mayans, Incas, and Aztecs, who came after them? America, the Europeans, the English. Who did they put into slavery? In 1492, they put us in slavery, right? And they put their names on us. That's why today you call yourself Garcia. It's a Spanish name. So your name actually is a what? A slave name, brother. That's why when we read earlier about God's people were going to be called by a different name, it's because we were going to be conquered by the Spaniards. So now, after they conquered us, who got conquered in 1619?
Bring it out.
Who? What people? So-called blacks. During the transatlantic slave trade, they came from Africa, right? By who? Who did it to them? The white people, the Europeans, the Britons, right? Englishmen, right? The Irishmen, right? The Amalekites. They did it to our people. Guess what? America, they represent the eagle. You see how it's the same people committing the same atrocities against the same people? This is helping us identify that the blacks and Hispanics, brother, we the same. We the same. All we gotta do is put history with the Bible. We gotta connect the dots, brother. Are you comprehending so far? Or are you still confused? You're hearing me. All right, I'm going to give you another one. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. I want you to tell me what people this happened to. Read it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68.
Bring it out.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So now, check this out. The Israelites, they came out of Egypt, correct? Okay, did the Israelites ever go back to Egypt?
Bring it out. Bring it out.
No, never. But God here is saying that he was going to bring them back into Egypt. But the word Egypt has a meaning. What does it mean?
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
The word Egypt means house of bondage, house of slavery, because we was enslaved in Egypt. 368 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
To Egypt meaning slavery, bondage, again through what?
With ships.
You see that? He's saying that he was going to bring the Israelites into slavery through ships.
Right.
Through ships.
Right.
I want you to tell me this. What nation of people went into slavery through ships?
Bring it out.
Huh? Oh, did any other people go through that? Hispanics. Yes, in 1492. You know what ships the Spaniards used? The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. These are the names of the ships that they used to transport us to all Europe.
Right.
To where else? To where else? To all those European lands, to Portugal, France, and all that, Italy. So now, the blacks went into slavery through what? Through what? No, through what? What were they using? Through ships.
That's
the
right.
Hispanics, so-called, went through slavery in what? In ships. So now, let's read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee
The Israelites,
into Egypt
slavery again.
with ships.
Ships, brother. So you understand, you agree, no other people have gone into slavery through ships. No other people. No other people. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you.
Bring it out.
I'm going to show you. That's a great question, brother.
Bring it out.
Great question.
Bring
I'm going to
it
finish
out.
this one. Read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
What was going to happen to them once they came out them ships?
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Meaning we was never going to see our homeland again.
Right.
Jerusalem is our homeland.
That's right.
The book of Galatians tells you that is our homeland. That is where we belong.
Right.
We haven't gone back since. So the people that call themselves Jews in the land of Israel right now, they are the fake Jews.
That's right.
Because God said we wouldn't see our land again. Read on.
Thou shalt see it no more again. And there
So once you came off of those slave ships, what was going to happen?
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
God said that once you came out for those slave ships, he said that you shall be sold. Did the black man get sold? Yes, he did. Did the Hispanic man get sold? Yes, he did. He got sold like the Bible said he would happen to him. Read that part again.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
See that? God said that you should be sold to your enemies. So guess what? You having the last name Garcia is because you were sold to your enemy. Your forefather was sold to your enemy. So you have the last name of your enemy. Our brothers, so-called blacks, who have the name Jefferson, who have the name Washington, guess what? That's because their forefathers were sold to their enemies. The white man, the Bible calls them our enemies. That's why today, brother, let's read it. All right, that's why, guess what? That's why today we see our people being murdered by who? The white man. And what happens? What happens? Nothing. Nothing. They go free, brother. Nothing happens. Every day, every week, you see another black and Hispanic man being murdered by the hands of the police, of the white men. What happens? Nothing, brother. Why? Because we was murdered then by the hundreds of thousands, and we are being murdered today. Let's read this book. Let's read, brother. What holiday is coming up right now?
Bring it up.
There's another one. Christopher Columbus Day.
Right.
And now think about it. Christopher Columbus Day. So now, what did Columbus do?
Bring it up.
He killed a lot of people.
That's right.
But they celebrate Christopher Columbus Day because they say that he discovered America.
Right.
But there was already people living in this land.
That's right.
So did he really discover America? No, that is a white lie.
That's right.
To brainwash the minds of the Hispanic and black men, brother.
right.
Let's read a little history. Let's read what book is this?
This is The Black Indians by William Lloyd Katz.
We read books. The white men, they don't want us to read books.
Right.
That's why they put facts. They put facts in books because they think we don't read. But the Spirit of the Lord has came upon these men to now start opening books and read about their history.
That's right.
So now let's see. Read it.
Black Indians and Hidden Heritage.
Let's see.
Page 26. The Christopher Columbus, whose unique seamanship and courage had opened the Americas to European penetration.
See that Christopher Columbus opened up the Americas for Europe penetration, meaning what? Robbery, slavery, for them to come over and conquer. What do they call them? What's that word that they call them? The colonizers, right? Colonizers. What do you do when you colonize? You take over.
Right.
What else do they call them? Pilgrims.
Right.
Pilgrims. Read on.
Also began the transatlantic slave trade.
Read that part again.
The Christopher Columbus.
Listen, for you blacks and Hispanics wanting to celebrate Christopher Columbus Day.
Bring it up.
Listen to what
Bring it
this
up.
book says what Christopher Columbus actually did. Read it.
The Christopher Columbus, whose unique seamanship and courage had opened the Americas to European
To
penetration,
do what?
also began the transatlantic slave trade.
You see that? The transatlantic slave trade happened and began because of Christopher Columbus.
Right.
So when you're celebrating Christopher Columbus Day, you're celebrating the destruction, the what else? The murder, the genocide of who? The blacks and Hispanics.
That's
Of
right.
your people. So you should not be celebrating that day.
Right.
You should hate that name
Right.
because that is the name of the genocide of your own people.
Right.
Let's read on.
He started by shipping 10 changed Arawak men and women to Cerebral, Spain.
You see that? He started by
Read.
what? By chaining. Read it again.
He started by shipping 10 changed Arawak men.
He started by shipping Arawak men, which was native Indians.
Right.
Read on.
And women to Cerebral, Spain.
Who did they send them to?
Cerebral, Spain.
Spain. That's why when they came back with names like yours, Garcia,
Right.
with names like Jose, with names like what? Gonzalez,
Right.
Robles, Martinez. They came back with those type of names, brother.
Right.
Read on.
He wrote enthusiastically to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella about the business possibilities.
See what he called it? What he called us as he took us into slavery. What did he call us? Read it again.
And he wrote enthusiastically.
Enthusiastic meaning what? He was happy. He was excited. He was ecstatic about what?
To King Ferdinand
To the king in Spain.
and Queen Isabella about the business possibilities from here.
So what did he call us? He called us a business.
Right.
A business. So you see the Wall Street, where do you think that begun?
Bring it
Why
up.
do you think it begun? It began because the business that they created out of the slavery of the Hispanics and the black men.
That's right.
That's why you got Wall Street today. That's how they made millions upon millions on our heads, on our blood, on our sweat, upon our brothers and sisters. You see that? They made a business out of us. Today, when you see the Hispanic, right? When you see them playing sports, playing soccer, playing baseball, okay, in the major leagues, right, in the MLB, right? When you see the black men playing sports in the NFL, in the NBA, that is a business for them. That is a business they created out of us. We are making money for them. We are their entertainment. We are still being used as slaves. That's why today you see all the Hispanics building up all these buildings, working in all the construction. But are we gaining from all that? No. Why? They created a business out of our blood and sweat, brother. And we benefit not a damn thing. Let's finish it.
From here, in the name of the blessed Trinity, we can send on the slaves that can be sold. When he loaded 100 Taino men.
Taino, you know where the Tainos come from? Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, that's where they come from. So he started with the Taino Indians in Puerto Rico. They're our brothers. So how many?
When he loaded 1,100 Taino men and women aboard 4 Spanish ships, the crowding and the stormy Atlantic, crossing to a fearful toll. Only 300 survived.
Only out of the 1,100 that he took, only 300 survived. Why, brother? Because they had us under the, what is it? The bell, the bottom of the ships, right? Brother, with no food, no nothing. It took over a year. It takes over a year to get back to Spain, to get back to Europe with no food, brother. Think about that. So this, when they say that the Hispanic man did not go on slave ships, this book, this history book, proves that Christopher Columbus took us back on slave ships. You understand that? So now, brother, this is proving what? What is this proving? This is proving that the history of the slavery connects with the curses that God said that the Israelites will go through, which is helping us identify us as the true Israelites.
That's right.
The true Jews. But now, let's go to 2nd Ezra.
Bring it up.
Now I'm going to show you, because you asked, how did we come over to the Americas?
Bring it up.
The Bible explains it.
That's
and
right.
Get me Arsharith ready.
Hallelujah.
Now let's see out of the Bible. 2nd Ezra. Let's go. You have it? 13. Let's go. Read it.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land.
Read it again. This, you got to pay close attention. There's a lot of history in this, but I'm going to hit the main points, okay? So now, read it again.
2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes.
Now, you look at that chart right there, brother. When you see there, the tribe of Naphtali, look at them, brother, so you understand. We got to put them together. The tribe of Reuben, tribe of Gad, Manasseh, Zebulun, Issachar, Ephraim, okay, Simeon, okay, all those. That's who it's talking about right here. We were called the Northern Kingdom tribe at that time. Read on.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king.
So now we had a king over us. His name was Hosea. Okay, Salmanasseh, which was an Assyrian. Because we've been through many slaveries, brother. The American slavery right now that we're in, this was the last slavery. But we've gone through multiple slaveries. So this slavery is talking about the Assyrian captivity. Now read that part again.
Out of their own land, at the time of Hosea the king, whom Solomon answered, the king of Assyria,
Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria,
led away captive,
took us into slavery. Read on.
and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Now check this out. Right now, at this point, we were still on the, Eastern Hemisphere. We were still on the other side of the world. So now, this king, Salmanasseh, king of Assyria, he took us into slavery. So a lot of time, many years happen between that. Read that part again.
Hosea the king, whom Solomon answered, the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves.
Now us, the Hispanics, right? We took a council, meaning we got together to do what?
That they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
We decided to leave the other nations, the
Right.
Assyrians, because we were no longer dwelling in Jerusalem, in our land.
Right.
So now we say, you know what? It's time for us to leave this captivity and go to another land. Let's see what it says.
And go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
He said that we were going to leave into a land where nobody ever dwelt.
Right.
Nobody. Read on.
Where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Read on.
And they entered into Euphrates.
So give me this. Is it this one? Here it is. Check this out. Now it says we entered into the Euphrates. Where's it at? Where's the Euphrates?
Bring it out.
Where's the Euphrates River?
Africa by India.
Where?
On the southeast of India.
All right, walking through.
Okay. So this is the Euphrates River. This is the Euphrates River. Read that part again.
Verse 41, but they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt,
On this side, brother. Read on.
that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
This is the narrow passage. You see that? That's why we got to use maps. We got to look at, this is the narrow passage. So we was over here. We came out on this way, and then what did we do?
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and had stilled the flood.
Meaning he had stilled the seas, so we was able to navigate. Okay? And we came around this way. Read on.
Till they were passed over.
Came through this way. Read.
For through that country there was a great way to go,
Listen to how long it took us to get there.
namely of a year and a half.
So it took us a year and a half to travel from this side of the world, come around the narrow passage, around the sea, onto the what? The Atlantic Ocean. We landed through the Atlantic Ocean over here. Okay, now read it. What does the Bible call that land?
Namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Horsarith.
So the Bible calls what America? What does it call it? Read it again.
And the same region is called Horsarith.
When we left the other side of the world, we came to Americas. God calls it Arshareth.
Right.
Now listen to this. Listen to this. This is, what is it? Read it for the brother.
This is the Jewish encyclopedia.
Now listen. The Jewish people. This is their encyclopedia. Listen to what they know that we don't know. Remember, the Bible called this land Arshareth.
Right.
Now listen to this. Read it again.
This is the Jewish encyclopedia. Definition of Arsarith. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration.
Listen, the definition of Arshareth is saying right now that it is the land where the northern kingdom tribes will be dwelling, observing the laws of Moses.
Right.
That's why when you look back to the Indians, brother, a lot of their traditions, a lot of their ceremonies goes back to the ceremonies you find in the Bible.
Right.
A lot of them, brother. Also, for example, you see Native Indians that they will have fringes on their clothing.
Right.
They got that from the Bible, brother.
Oh, right.
Check this out. You see these? You see all that?
Teach.
That's one of the customs that you find in the book of Numbers, chapter 15.
That's right.
We came over to keep the laws of God.
Right.
So now let's read that part again.
The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration, according to 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 45.
See that? So right now it's telling you that you can find it in the book of 2nd Ezra. We just read it out of the Bible.
Right.
Read on.
Columbus.
Who?
Columbus.
Christopher Columbus. Where did Christopher Columbus come from? Europe. Where did he sail to? America. Remember, it's talking about Arcerith. Today they call it America. Columbus did what?
Identify.
He said he identified, but they say he discovered. No, he identified it because he read it out the Bible.
Right.
Read on.
Columbus identified America
with
this land.
with the Bible, Arcerith, because it's recorded that the nation of Israel was going to be dwelling on this side of the world, brother.
Right.
Now they will see the true men of God. We are not black men, we are Israelites. That's right. Take care of us. Take care of us. And our children too. And our children too. We have repented. We have repented. How are you? How are you? People want to know who's the king.
O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father. O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father.
Now why they trying to make it so hard to serve God? And why when I say that I'm a Jew it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sounds wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcast, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.